Hey everybody, and welcome to yet another wonderful day of virtual math. I hope you're doing great and you're having a wonderful time, hopefully with your family, even if you're getting a little annoyed with them at all, trying to find the good in this crazy situation. So I'm doing good, and I'm ready to bring you our next lesson, which is actually an 8th grade lesson, but I always teach it because I think it helps to kind of bring all of volume together. And so today what we're going to learn is how to find the volume of a pyramid. So you guys have learned how to find the volume of a prism, which is always the volume is the area of the base times height. We're no longer going to learn about length times width times height. We're done with that. And all we're going to do is we're going to focus on the area of the base times the height. So let's take a look at a few. I'm actually not going to tell you the volume of a pyramid yet. I'm going to show you guys this really cool video that I found online that we would have done in class. And then hopefully you can figure it out on your own. So here we go. This is a square prism. You would find the area of the base times height. And this is a square pyramid. Notice how it's like exactly the same. It has the same base. It has the same height. It's just in the form of a pyramid where it comes up to one vertice. And you guys can notice that the volume of a prism is going to be more. It's going to be a lot more than the volume of a pyramid. You can only, if I was to fill this up with water, it could hold a lot more than if I filled this up with water. Even though it has the same base and the same height, it would not fill up as much. So we also have a triangular prism, which you guys should know is the area of a triangle, this triangle here with my cursor, times the height here, which is 7. And the pyramid of that would be a triangular pyramid. Now, it looks a whole lot different, but it's really not. Do you notice how the base is 6 by 8? That's the base, which is a triangle. Look here. The base here is the exact same. The base is the exact same, 6 by 8. And the height is 7 here, and the height is 7 here. By the way, do you notice the number here? Is there a number you don't need to have to solve for the volume? You see it? And if you got it, you don't need that 10. You don't need this 9 because it's always the area of the base times the height, and the height is always from top to bottom. So this slant height is called a slant height. Yeah, you don't need that. You don't need that. And last but not least, you guys learned the volume of a cylinder, which is the area of the base, which is the area of a circle, times the height, which is 9. Well, the opposite of that is a cone, right? That's going to come up to one little point. And we're going to find the volume of that. And notice how the volume, you can not hold as much, but there is a formula. So here, I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. We're going to watch this super awesome video that I found. We were actually going to do this experiment. Let me just copy. I'm going to have to copy and paste this. Here we go. We're going to watch this video. And what I'd like you to do, the background music on this is like terrible. I'm going to play it for you for like 2 seconds, and I'm going to mute it because it's not cool. I don't like it at all. And then I'm going to kind of talk you through it a little bit. But what I'd like you to do is, as they're doing this experiment about volume, what I'd like you to do is to figure out how many times the pyramid, the volume of the pyramid, will inside solid. So we're going to start out with the. Come on now. Come on. Oh, man, that music is terrible, right? It's the worst. We don't like it. Hopefully it's loading right now, so hopefully it'll clear up pretty quickly. I'm going to mute it because that is just the worst. Let's just mute this really quick. Come on. I don't want to hear it anymore. Okay, it's now muted. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a square pyramid, and that base is the same as this base. The height is the same as that height, and we're going to find the volume. Remember, the volume is the amount of liquid or the amount of cubic inches or feet that can go inside this. So my question for you is, I'd like you to estimate right now, if you're at home, if you have a pen and paper, hopefully you do for taking notes, I want you to write down, if you filled this up to the very top, how many of these will fit inside here if it has the same base, and it has the same height. See the triangle here? It's the same height. Look at that height right there, and look at that height right there. It's the same, and the base is the exact same as well. So I want you to guess right now, or you can pause it and kind of take a look. How many liquids of these, when he pours it in, will fit inside here? And give your guess. Do you think it's going to, I'll give you a hint. It's more than one. It's definitely more than one. And here we go. Hopefully you have your guess. If you don't, that's okay. Here's the first one. He's going to pour that in. That's one. And of course, that doesn't fill it all the way. So he's going to fill it up again, all the way to the very, very top. Hopefully pretty close to the top. That's two. He's going to fill up one. Well, actually, we'll see how many times he can fill in. That's two of them. He's going to fill that up a little bit more, hopefully. And it has the same amount. And when you fill it up, watch what happens. It will go all the way to the top. And hopefully from this experiment, you'll see that if a pyramid has the same height, has the same exact base, it can fill it 3 times. That's going to be important, 3 times. So the question is, let's go back to our presentation. Come on. Is if the square prism is area of the base times height, is the formula can hold not 3 times more. It can't hold 3 times more. It can hold 3 times less. So hopefully you figured that out. So the volume equals blank. That's the secret. And we're going to say area of the base. Actually, I'm going to use my writing tool, my super awesome writing tool. The area of the base, got to squeeze that in there, times the height. And if it can hold 3 times less, what magical number goes there to find the volume of any pyramid? Well, if it can hold 3 times less, we're not going to put a 3 here. It's not 3 times more, it's 3 times less. So if it can hold 3 times less, we write 1/3. And guys, if you're writing your notes down, this is going to be our magical, awesome formula for every single pyramid. Every single pyramid, no matter what, is always 1/3 the area of the base times height, because if you watch that video, it takes 3 times to fill up. So we're going to go on. If you guys can see here, you guys know that the area of the base times the height, and you guys would solve it this way. It's the 12 times 12 times 12, and that gives you 1,728. But now let's find the volume of the exact same thing, but the difference is it's a pyramid, and we're going to use 1/3 the area of the base times height. So let's solve this. 1/3 the area of the base, excuse me, 12 times 12 times the height, which is going to be 12. And we're just going to solve this. I always like to solve the area of the base first, which is 144 times the height. And this is the formula, guys. This is what we're going to use every time. It's 1/3 the area of the base times height. And then from here, I don't mind if you use a calculator. 1/3 of 144. Let's use my trusty calculator. We're going to make this a little bit quicker. I don't mind if you use a calculator for these. It's going to be 48 times the 12. And by the way, you could take 144 times 12 and then divide it by 3. That's fine too. So 48 times 12 is 576, and that's going to be feet cubed. And I'm only going to show you this once, but let's go back for a second. And that's just this answer divided by 3. If you do that and divide by 3, it's going to give you 576 feet cubed. And that's all you do. That's the main thing. You just got to realize that every single time it is a pyramid, you're going to divide by 3 or multiply by 1/3. It's the same exact thing. So again, we've learned this before. You find the area of the base times the height. So it's the area of a triangle. So the area of the triangle is 1/2, 8 times 6, and then you'd solve that as 168. Well, let's take that exact same form and let's just change it to a pyramid. And I'm going to tell you right now, the reason why I like using colors is because this problem right here, I think is very easy to make a mistake. Oh no, don't you dare. Don't you dare. Don't you dare mess up. Don't you dare. It's been messing up on me, people. And if it does that, I'm going to have to X this out and go back into it. And in that meantime, you can either skip to the video right now to get to the point where we left off, or you can listen to Mr. Schreiber talk about random stuff. So right now, it is getting nicer outside, which means that my cat, my wonderful cat, is going outside. And I have two cats, one that stays indoors the entire time and one that goes outdoors. And the one that goes outdoors had a little incident the other day. And what happened was, he's a very curious type of cat. That's what he kind of does. He's very curious. But he climbed up the tree in the back. And the thing with the tree is it's very like vertical, and he can climb up with his claws, but he got stuck up in the tree. And it was about 9:30 at night, and it's like pitch black in my neighborhood. And I had to, this is a true story, I had to go up into the tree, climb up, and I would say that I'm a mediocre climber at best and try to save my cats. What happened was I got up, and it was about 2 stories high, went up there, finally crawled up there, and my cat's is like meowing, very scared. And then I tried to get in position to kind of grab him, and then I was my wife climbed up partway through on the tree, and I was going to hand, the cat's name's Harry, I was going to hand Harry down, and my cat heard like a branch break as I was trying to get him, got scared, and just straight up leaped out of the tree. 2 stories, fell on the ground. I, of course, freaked out thinking the cat was hurt. But if you have a cat, you probably know that they can fall from 2 stories and be perfectly fine. And of course, he was fine and everything was good. But he learned a valuable lesson. He learned a valuable lesson of being able to climb things with a plan, hopefully, to get back down. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. So if you guys can see here, we have the exact same pyramid that's very similar to the prism. The difference here is that it's a pyramid instead of a prism, so it's 1/3 the area of the base times height. And this is the part where I think it gets a little tricky because, and I think it's very important to put it as using colors, and I'll show you why, because this is the one that everybody messes up on. And this is why it's so important to color code, and you have to find the area of the base. Well, guys, the area of the base here is a triangle. So we have to find the area of a triangle, which is 1/2 times 6 times 8. And the height, you guys can see from top to bottom, is 7. The number you don't need is you don't need 9. We kind of put it on there just to make sure you guys are paying attention, but you don't need the 9. So I always like to solve the area of the base first, and you can do this in your head. 1/2 of 6 is 3. 1/2 of 6 is 3. 3 times the 8 is 24. Times 7, and you really don't need a calculator for this because you guys can tell me what's 1/3 of 24. What's 24 divided by 3? Gives you the same answer. And 24 divided by 3 is 8 times 7, and volume equals 56 inches cubed. Again, the formula is 1/3 area of the base times height, only for pyramids. And notice how it comes to a point. That's going to be just like the pyramids that you see in Egypt, very similar. Okay. Let's take on another one. You guys know that the area of a cylinder, very similar to a prism. We don't call it a prism, we call it a cylinder, but it's similar to a prism because it has 2 bases. And you would solve that by taking the area of the base times the height. Again, you don't have to write this down. This is what we covered last week. But if you need a refresher, it's going to be pi r squared times the 9. And you solve it and you get 452.16. Let's take that exact same type of prism, and now let's make it a pyramid. So take a look here. It looks the exact same, right? The height is 9. The radius is 4. But you guys know that the formula for any pyramid is 1/3 area of the base times height. So we start by saying this is V equals 1/3. Let's see if I can get that color. I think it's that one right here. The area of the base is a circle. See, that's a circle there. So the circle is going to be pi r squared times the height, which is 9. So volume equals 1/3. 3.14 times our radius. What was our radius? It was a 4. It was 4 squared times the 9. I'm going to scroll this down so we can put our work down. And then now we just solve this. So volume equals, I think it's very important to put this step by step. Ooh, change my color. Again, the color is what the area of the base is. Always do this first because order of operations, you never multiply 3.14 times 4. Don't do that because order of operations is we have to square this before we multiply. Times 9. Volume equals 1/3. I don't mind if you use a calculator right here. Even I'm going to use a calculator. We're going to say 3.14 times 16. That gives you 50.24 times the 9. And then from here, you can solve it any way you want to. You can solve this left to right, but when you have all multiplying, it doesn't matter how you do it. So, I'm going to be a little crazy here. I'm going to take 1/3 of 9. I'm going to do that. You can do that, which is 3 times the 50.24. You don't have to do this, but you can. And then we take 50.24 times 3. That's going to give us our final answer, which is going to be 150.72. And that is going to be meters cubed because we're talking about how many cubes are inside something. Yep, that's it. And just a heads up, you're always going to use 3.14 to solve these problems. Guys, that's it. That's an example of each of the problems you're going to have to do in your checkout. So please make sure you guys check that out. The only thing that I think I threw at you on the checkout problems that you're going to have to be aware of is I gave you one problem that's like this, but it is the radius. I mean, it's the diameter. So I may give you a problem where like this is 8, and you got to make sure you change that to a 4 to find the area of a cone. I'm sorry, not the area of the circle. So guys, that's it. Big thing is I'm having a few people shout outs to Troy, Hannah H, and who else is on that chat? It was Hannah H, it was Troy, Olivia H always joins us, and Gabby also joined us for the review that I go over. I go over each of the problems. So if you guys want to join, you guys are more than welcome. We'd love to have you. Plus we talk about random stuff too, which is always fun. So feel free to join and say hello. And I'd love to see you this week to kind of go over this. But that's it. Feel free to watch this video again for any help. And I hope you guys are having a great week.